So, what are you doing with the rest of your life?
Little of this, little of that. Probably catching up on some me time. Find God. Maybe move around some chairs.
Well, maybe I'll run into you at a support group or an orgy or something.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Hi, I'm Dave Bjorkgren, Managing Editor of the News of Delaware County.
And I'm Arthur Ryan, Special Correspondent to the News. And that was a scene from Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, which opened up in movie theaters this past weekend. And it's one of those movies that's difficult to categorize. It's sort of a quirky comedy, which it is, but it's also a lot more. It also is a road picture. It has moments of dark humor in it. But it also has a lot of thoughtful moments asking questions about life and relationships. And it tells the story of an insurance agent played by Steve Carell named Dodge, whose wife leaves him at the beginning of the film when you find out that a meteor is about to destroy the Earth in about 3 weeks' time. So Dodge goes on a road trip with a neighbor named Penny, and together they try to seek his long-lost love and her family. And on paper, this movie must look like a jumbled mess.
I'm sure it's all over the place.
But somehow it all comes together and works.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that does kind of make it work is, first of all, the director focuses primarily on these two characters.
Mm-hmm.
And the two characters themselves are very...
they're well drawn.
They're well drawn, but they're also... There's a focus that you get from particularly Steve Carell's character, that just kind of, with all the mayhem going on around them, you kind of have these two guys that are just sort of staying centered through the whole thing as they work through what's happening to them, but also kind of realize that they're connected to each other too.
Oh, sure, and I think like any good road picture, a lot of it has to do with who they meet along the way.
Right, right.
And the one thing that I loved about it is, with all of the silliness that goes on, the director really throws in every once in a while these little jolts that sort of remind you that there is an urgency to the story. And I just found that was really sort of brave for a first-time director to do things like that. And because, again, it's sort of billed as this comedy, yet she's reminding you that there's this seriousness to the story all along.
Yeah, I mean, you actually get very little sense that there's we assume there's widespread panic. I mean, there's rioting, there's there's hints of it. You primarily find out about what's going on through the newscasts that come in every once in a while. But as I say, where the two characters are, it's relatively calm, and yet yet the world around them is subtly changed. I can't really explain it except that the way that the characters around them are behaving to tell you that something is, seriously is going on.
And this was a really good stretch for Steve Carell. Mainly a comedic actor, but he handles the drama quite well. In fact, I mean, I really think it's an Oscar-worthy nomination for this film performance.
And again, I mean, I guess I liked it because, again, I feel like it was almost an understated performance.
Yeah.
But in light of everything that's going on, I felt like it really works.
Yeah, and he's very sullen, very melancholy, and I think in any other film that would come out boring, but to this you just can't help but be riveted and watch every reaction as all these people are acting so ridiculous around him because we've got 3 weeks to live, let's party, let's do all these awful things. There's nobody, everybody loses their morals all of a sudden. But
in fact, the film kind of starts off in that direction, and I was sitting there waiting to be disappointed because I was assuming, it's just going to be another one of those, it's a party kind of film, and then it takes off in this totally different direction, and. And there is a darkness to the film as well as a sweetness. It's a very interesting mix.
Oh, it certainly is. Yeah, Martin Sheen shows up in a really terrific cameo.
Right.
And don't want to give too much away, but towards the end, I was getting worried that the producers were going to try to find some silly way to, sort of cop out, so to speak, and tie it up all too nicely, but they didn't. And I thought, again, that for a major motion picture these days, that was kind of nice to see them, take the route that you think this movie's going to go in.
Yeah.
At the same time, concentrating on the relationship of these two characters is the main focus of the film.
Yeah. Unfortunately, because of that, I don't think anybody's going to go see it.
It's very possible.
So,
I think it's a very smart movie.
Yeah.
The way they're billing it as this sort of silly end of the world comedy, it's not that.
No, it's definitely not that.
It's not that at all.
And I liked you had spoken before to me that it reminded you a little bit of Lost in Translation.
Lost in Translation, several of the Albert Brooks movies.
Right.
And I was thinking that maybe this would do better at the box office than those films, but now I'm thinking maybe not. I think it's just going to be one of those, niche films that people, cult films that people gravitate to over the years.
Yeah. I mean, unless word of mouth, that a certain group of people that enjoy it so much that they spread the word and it suddenly becomes a sort of a sleeper hit. I don't know, that's a possibility.
But I would recommend it. I was totally impressed.
I think it's got definitely enough going for it because it took what could have been a really terrible premise and they did so much more with it.
Yeah.
Much more than anything I ever expected.
Very surprising.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. Well, I'm Dave Bjorkgren, and if you'd like to,
we have trouble with endings.
We don't. We really need to write this part down. You can catch our full reviews in the next edition of the News of Delaware County.
Or you could just watch these ridiculous videos.
Right. Yeah. So until next time.
Cut.